Friday, the Commission's Recommendations Task Team arrested Captain Makgotloe for defeating the ends of justice, for being an accessory after fact, and for being found in possession of unlicensed ammunition. When they arrived at his home, they found him in possession of 28 ballistics reports, but the team is still analyzing those particular ballistic reports. They also found him with several rounds of ammunition and so on. So today he has appeared in court. He is back on the 2nd of June. But you will recall that this case emanates from the Aman Swart case, where Aman Swart was killed on the 17th of April 2024. You'll recall that he was killed in a hail of bullets, and a few hours later, our organized crime detectives, as well as Gauteng members, they had managed to arrest those that had been behind his assassination in Johannesburg. And upon their arrest, they were found with a licensed private firearm. They were found with about 15 AK-47 cartridges. And they then proceeded to the accused, or rather suspects at the time's homes, where they found actually the vehicle that was used in the hit of Aman Swart, which was a Hyundai i20. In that particular Hyundai i20, one AK-47 was found together with 2 pistols. So it means that after murdering Aman Swart, those suspects proceeded to one of the homes of the suspects. They abandoned that particular vehicle, knowing that obviously police are hot on their heels. They got into another vehicle, but little did they know that intelligence was already tailing them, and they then got arrested. Fine. So fast forward, obviously those firearms that are found are then taken for ballistics testing at our head office forensic science laboratory. And upon completion of that particular report, there are then glaring mistakes and errors that are then noted. While our organized crime detectives are still on the ground, obviously they receive information that these particular hitmen are involved in a number of high-profile cases, and they had been, involved in a lot of murders and a lot of attempted murders. But when that particular report, that was obviously signed off then by Captain Makgotloe, then is finalized and presented, these 2 investigators from Gauteng Organized Crime then noticed that there are a lot of errors and there are no linkages. We are here today because of those 2 investigators, and I think we need to give credit where it's due. Because if they were not determined, if they did not persist for a second opinion on those particular firearms, a lot of cases would have remained unsolved. So through their determination, they then requested their commanders for a second opinion for those particular firearms. Those firearms were then taken from head office forensic science laboratory. They were taken to Amanzimtoti FSL, where indeed they were then linked to 30 cases, serious and violent cases, the majority of them being murder and a few attempted murder. The team, to verify whether the Amanzimtoti report was a true reflection of the forensic findings, they then requested for another second opinion. Those firearms were then taken to Eastern Cape Forensic Science Laboratory, where the 2 reviewers and the ballistics experts then agreed that indeed these firearms linked to 30 serious and violent cases, the majority being murder and attempted murder. So it then gave the investigators an indication that the initial report that was worked on by Captain Makgotloe, it had glaring mistakes and a lot of errors. And it is unusual with the experience of Captain Makgotloe that he would make such glaring mistakes and would not link these firearms to other cases. Now we know that those 3 firearms were linked to, firstly, the Amanswart case. They were linked to DJ Somebody and his 2 bodyguards case. The Don Itumeleng murder. They were linked to DJ Vinto's murder. When it comes to attempted murder, we link those firearms to the attempted murder of Josie Banyoni, the attempted murder of, I think it was DJ Vetis, and so on. So our team is still in investigating and linking other cases. It's highly likely that they'll bring other cases before court. So in the value chain, a ballistic expert plays a very crucial role. When a ballistic expert fails to provide true and accurate forensic findings, it derails investigations. So misrepresentation and failing to correctly analyze exhibits, it leads investigators to being misled. It compromises investigations, and it means perpetrators then evade justice. So it's a very serious crime, and that is why he is facing about 3 charges: the defeating of the ends of justice, accessory after the fact, because we do believe that by him misrepresenting the report and manipulating the report, then he should, together with those suspects or the accused, be charged then with the murders of Amanswart. Because even in the Amanswart case, where he linked the ballistics, the firearms to that particular crime scene, there were still glaring errors that would have ensured that those accused would get off scot-free. So I think credit needs to be given to those 2 investigators who we cannot obviously mention and divulge their ranks and names because of the risk that is involved. We have had to obviously put measures in place to protect them, because we have previously indicated that their lives are at risk because of their determination, their commitment to the badge, and for their relentless efforts in ensuring that many other cases are solved. Now we have the perpetrators of DJ Somebody, we've got the perpetrators of Don Itumeleng, DJ Vinto's, the attempted murder suspects in the cases of Josie Banyoni, as well as DJ Vetis and so on. So really credit must be given to those 2 investigators for the meticulous investigative work and the commitment, because if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be here today. All these perpetrators would have evaded justice.
Brigadier, can you talk about whether there are internal investigations unfolding in relation to Makgotloe? Has he been suspended? Does he still keep his badge? What's happening there?
Well, in terms of suspension, I don't think he is yet suspended, but we will be ensuring that the internal departmental processes kick in line with our disciplinary regulations, and we will then provide further detail at a later stage. But obviously we have to follow due processes in terms of departmental investigations.
And Athlenda, we remember, of course, his time at the Madlanga Commission, where these discrepancies were brought into sharp scrutiny. He mentioned system errors, typo errors. How deliberate was his intention, as you've mentioned, to manipulate this evidence, and what did he stand to gain?
Well, those are the answers I think that we are looking for, and this is an opportunity for the captain to actually come clean, to say who was he working with. Was he working with the syndicates, or was he working with other people who stood to gain if they protected those syndicates and those accused that are now before court?
You also mentioned that he's now looking at the fact that he was an accessory of. Does that mean he will be joined as an accused in the murders of DJ Somebody and DJ Vintos? As we understand, that case is currently before the courts.
Well, not now. I will have to get a full briefing from the investigating officer, but now he's only linked to the Amanswar case because, like I've indicated on that particular report as well, there were glaring mistakes that if that matter was brought before court with that particular ballistics report, then the perpetrators would have evaded justice because probably the magistrate would have thrown that case out of court.
And as you speak right now,
some of the issues that he's raised are so similar to that of Sergeant Fanny Nkosi with regards to some of the documents that he was found with. The scale of the involvement of officers in conceiving evidence and tampering with that type of evidence, I'm sure it is something that is probably worrying for SAPS at this moment.
But we've got full faith and confidence in the Commission's recommendations task team, in the work that they are doing. They will continue to detect wrongdoing. They will continue to uncover those that are working with the syndicates and bring perpetrators to justice.
Brigadier, let's talk about then the task team, the organized task team that's being led, organized crime task team that's being led by Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. Is this task team perhaps then also working together with the recommendations task team that's looking into these allegations at the Matlanga Commission?
Well, absolutely. It's quite a big team, and they're hard at work in ensuring that they restore trust and public confidence back in the police. So this is a result of the ongoing investigations that have emerged from the task team, that they are not only focusing on what is happening at the Matlanga Commission. If other information comes forward, is brought to their attention, they investigate it and they find that there's prima facie evidence to effect arrest, and there is a case that will be able to stand in court, then they pursue such cases.
Just lastly then, I know the Josie Banyoni matter is now going to be re-enrolled. I know as the police, you were hard at work to try and gather this evidence. Your reaction to the re-enrollment?
Well, Mpumalanga police had indicated that they still believe that they've got a strong case against the 4 accused. They still maintain that the evidence that they've gathered remains intact, and they are working closely, obviously, with the NPA to ensure that that matter is re-enrolled and the 4 accused then are brought before court to answer to the charges that they are facing.
Thank you so much for your time, Brigadier
Athlenda Mathe, the spokesperson for the